Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum. From now we are going to start cardiovascular system, and in this video I will be talking about very basic and important terms, or you can say very important or basic definitions of cardiovascular system. So stay connected and keep learning. I hope all of you are fine. So today we are going to start some terms in CVS, that is cardiovascular system. In cardiovascular system, the first term is circulation. Understanding circulation. In our body, we have two types of circulation. The first one is greater circulation. जो ग्रेटर सर्कुलेशन है ये एक्चुअली सिस्टमिक सर्कुलेशन कहलाती है. Systemic circulation. And the second one is lesser, with compared to the systemic circulation, this is lesser or short circulation, and the name is pulmonary circulation. Now, talking about the terms in circulatory system, the first one is stroke volume. Stroke volume. मेरी writing खास अच्छी नहीं है, so don't mind. I'll try to explain everything so you can understand very well. So talking about the stroke volume, the volume of the blood, that is ejected by the ventricles in, that is important thing, to the pulmonary artery and aorta in one beat. This is very important thing. The total blood, the volume of the blood that is ejected by the ventricles into the pulmonary artery and aorta. And now this aorta is giving blood towards systemic, and this pulmonary artery is giving towards pulmonary circulation. I hope you understand. And now talking about the second term. In second term, that is ejection fraction. Ejection fraction. The fraction of end diastole volume. The fraction of end diastole volume, that is ejected in one beat. Remember this thing, don't get confused, because in coming definitions or in coming turn we will be talking about 1 beat, 1 minute, 1 second. So that's why I'm highlighting this point, that in 1 beat. Let me talk about some normal values. For example, for a normal person, the end diastole volume is 140 ml. Okay, so now the heart is pumping, the ventricles are going to contract, they are ejecting the blood, so they are contracting and getting a little smaller. So they are getting a little smaller. Now the normal volume of the blood that is ejected is 55%. Normal, remember that. If we calculate the normal 55% of this 140 ml, that is, I guess, 80 ml. So the 80 ml will be ejected, and that is stroke volume. Here we studied about stroke volume, so I'm writing here stroke volume. So now 140 minus 80, that is 60 ml and systolic volume. Let me clear some points here. Number one thing, blood volume in, if it is in one beat, that is stroke volume, and if that is in 1 minute, that is cardiac output. Just don't get confused. So how to calculate the stroke volume? Stroke volume is equal to and diastolic volume minus and systolic volume. For example, for normal person it is 140 ml minus, and systolic volume was here 60 ml. So stroke volume is at 80 ml. Okay, so moving forward, the end diastolic volume. What is end diastolic volume? The volume of blood that is present in ventricles, both ventricles, during diastole. Okay, diastole, or some people call it diastole. Normally it is 140 ml. And now end systolic volume, that is the volume of blood that is present in ventricles during a systole, or you can say systole. That is normally 60 ml. Now talking about the cardiac output. So what is cardiac output? The volume of blood that is ejected from ventricles in 1 minute. The volume of blood that is ejected in 1 minute, and it is equal for right ventricle and left ventricle. The blood ejected from the right ventricle and the blood ejected by the left ventricle both are equal. One is for pulmonary circulation and the second one is for systemic circulation. Is equal to cardiac output. You can say that is, I think, very easy. So calculating with the formula that my teacher, my sir, my professor told me, that cardiac output is equal to systolic volume multiplied by heart rate. For example, the systolic volume is 80 multiplied by heart rate, let's suppose that is 80. So the total will be I think 640. My math is not so good, so removing the third one, and now we get 64. Just put the point in between these two, that will be your cardiac output, 6.4 liters in 1 minute. Now talking about some very easy definitions, or you can say very easy term. That one is preload. What is preload? Preload, in very simple words, it is venous return. Venous return, the amount of blood, the volume of blood that is returned to your heart from your body, that is called venous return, preload, or you can say that end diastolic volume, just to understand that. When preload is decreased, the demand is also decreased, and the drug that is used to decrease the preload, or when the preload is increased, just to decrease that, the drug used for that are nitrates. Sorry about the background noise. And the next one is afterload. What is afterload? That is aortic pressure, or you can say that load present in aorta. And if afterload is increased, then the drugs used to decrease the afterload are ACE inhibitors. This is related to pharmacology, but I'm just giving you examples. Inhibitors like hydralazine. So the next one is oxygen consumption of myocardium. Sometimes oxygen consumption is increased. O2 consumption. Why or in which conditions it is increased? So the first one is increased afterload, increased preload, increased heart rate, just like when we are running or when we are doing some exercise or some diseases which can cause friction or which can make afterload or preload increased. Or the fourth one that is very important is hypertrophy of myocardium. Okay, leave the drugs. And in some conditions, O2 requirement is decreased. Just remember the drugs which can decrease the O2 consumptions, which are nitrates, beta blockers, and calcium channel blockers. These drugs can decrease O2 consumption of myocardium. So talking about stroke walk, what is stroke walk? In last page recently we studied about stroke volume, but now it is stroke walk. The walk performed by the heart in one beat. Again, don't get confused between 1 beat and 1 minute. So the stroke walk is equal to stroke volume multiplied by aortic pressure. And now the most common, easiest and most useful definition, and that is blood pressure. What is blood pressure? The pressure that is exerted, pressure of blood that is exerted, I think I'm making a mistake of spelling, exerted on the walls of blood vessels. Repeating again, talking about the blood pressure, the pressure of blood that is exerted on the walls of blood vessels. Normally BP is equal to 120 over 80. So this 120 is systolic and this 80 is diastolic pressure. And hypertension, just to remember, hypertension is if systolic is more than 130 and diastolic is more than 80. Before, or you can read from other books that they have a clear definition that it should be 130 to 139, then 140 to 150, 149 etc. But this is the latest study that if the blood pressure is more than 130 systolic and more than 180, it can give sign and symptoms of hypertension. But still, we will study hypertension in detail in next lectures or videos. Okay, so continuing our next definition, we have pulse pressure. So what is pulse pressure? It is the difference between systole and diastolic pressure. How? For example, we have systole for normal person 120. The difference, it means minus the diastolic pressure for normal person, so the pulse pressure is 40. Again saying for normal. Mean arterial pressure. What is that? I heard it many times, but yesterday I understand that. What is mean arterial pressure? Mean arterial pressure is diastolic pressure plus 1/3, you can say 1/3 of pulse pressure. How to calculate that? How to find out? Taking normal values, for example, the person has 80 diastolic pressure plus 1/3 of pulse pressure, like we have 40, so taking 1/3 of 40 is equal to, I guess, 13.33. I guess I think I'm right, my math is not so good, so that will be 93.33. Rounding it off, it will be 93. Now we will talk about the next definition, and that is cardiac cycle. What is cardiac cycle? Cardiac cycle, what is that? We heard it many times from, I think, our 8th class or 9th class, matric, FSE. We heard that cardiac cycle. What is? Actually, saying very simple, it is the study of one beat. Again saying one beat. So one beat is equal to cardiac cycle, and that is equal to, in our cardiac cycle we have systole and diastole. Simple, systole and diastole. Or the brief example, or brief definition for that is graphical as well as mechanical events in one beat. कि एक बीट में होने वाले ग्राफिकल और मैकेनिकल इवेंट्स की स्टडी एक कार्डियक साइकिल मुकम्मल करती है. ठीक है, इज इक्वल टू वन कार्डियक साइकिल. अगर हम इनकी वैल्यूज़ ले लें तो वैल्यूज़ कुछ ऐसे आएंगी, लाइक नॉर्मल, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट normal and diastolic volume, normal and systolic volume, and it is 140 ml. We studied all of these. So, and systolic volume, that was 60, and stroke volume, that was 80 ml. So Continuum, that is very interesting graph, or you can say pressures in heart chambers and greater vessels. You have to remember that first of all, let me write a max volume, max pressure and minimum pressure in, first of all, right ventricle. In right ventricle, maximum pressure is 25 mmHg. Remember this. And the minimum is 0. In left ventricle, the maximum is 120. Why? Because this left ventricle have to supply blood to the whole body through systemic circulation. I guess you remember that. And the minimum minimum pressure is 0. In aorta, maximum is 120 and minimum is 80. In our pulmonary trunk, maximum is 25 but the minimum is 8. In atrium, maximum is 4 and the minimum is 0. I got tired. Phases. My topic is going to finish now. The phases of cardiac cycle. We have 2 phases. We will talk about the detail in next video. Just remember 2 phases. First one is systolic phase and the second one is diastolic phase. The total cardiac cycle is of 0.8 seconds. It means it is less than 1 second. So fast and so reliable, thank God. The systolic pressure, it means heart is pumping very fast and then relaxing, pumping then relax. It is 0.3 seconds and diastolic takes 0.5 seconds. Combining these 0.3 plus 0.5, we get 0.8 seconds. So thank you for watching, thank you for understanding. If you have confusions, questions, you can comment, you can answer me, you can WhatsApp me, or you can send message on Facebook, WeChat, Instagram, wherever you want. Here I am giving you my WhatsApp number, that is 0086 150 9076 4148. Thank you.